Now, my opponent claims that he was left with absolutely no choice. He says they did everything they could. They were watching every penny very carefully. Everything was annotated. Everything was documented. They were cutting corners wherever possible. And they were left with just no choice but to increase our taxes. But what's the truth about that statement? They were spending money like drunken sailors. I'm sure Bill will tell you when he comes up here. For instance, they spent millions of dollars purchasing the rights to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns logos to print them on the lottery tickets because they thought that would be so nice to see those logos printed there. At a time when they're raising taxes on Ohioans, they're purchasing the rights to logos. What are some other things they did? Well, they renovated the Cincinnati Zoo. You know, isn't that an essential state service that just has to be maintained? The Cincinnati Zoo. It was in fine shape. It was functioning. They thought they could beautify it just a bit. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Harding Home down in Southern Ohio. Buildings all over the state. Hundreds of millions of dollars spent on all these things. And then they have the nerve to turn around to Ohioans and say, we've done everything possible to cut cost. All the programs are still running. And yet they have the nerve to increase our taxes. You know, my opponent claims that the budget came upon them suddenly, the budget deficit. That they had no warning. It was kind of the stealth $7 billion budget hole. Yeah, it just snuck up on them.
Where'd this go from?
So they had no time to prepare. So therefore they had no choice but to increase our taxes. You know, it's interesting as well, and Bill can tell you this, he claims that it wasn't a tax increase that they did. He says all that they did was delay the scheduled tax reduction. And what he means by that is that there was a reduction, and it took place it was scheduled in 2008, it took place in 2009. That's true, but we paid taxes the whole year at the new rate. So we paid at the reduced rate all year long, then at the end of the year, they retroactively wiped out the scheduled reduction, and therefore we had to all go back and pay increased taxes. Friends, that's a tax increase. That's a clear tax increase. Don't let them tell you any different.